This is Aubrey Boucher, co-star of Beta, and you're listening to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast.
You are now listening to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast.
Welcome to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dre.
And we are here to discuss winners and submissions for the month of May for IndieEye Film Awards. How are you doing, Dre?
Yeah, doing great. I've got a lot of energy today. Took me a while to get here, but...
Well, good, because we're going to need it to get through all of these things we need to talk about. We're sitting here recording on Memorial Day. It's roughly 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'll try to get this done, try to get this edited so I could still hit the grill and get some dinner made for the family. But what an incredible month of submissions we had. A really satisfying watches across the board.
A lot less WTFs and a lot more, oh, those were good.
Yeah, there's tough decisions to be made this month. And so listen, really, we're not going to be able to talk about all of the submissions. Just that's a blanket statement for all episodes. But there are films that were submitted that certainly deserve to be discussed here, and we just can't. We can't fit it all in to 1 month's podcast. So we definitely are going to have a little bit to say about all of the winners, some honorable mentions. But this was a tough month. In English, This was a tough month of judging. If for some reason we're not speaking about your project, but you were an official selection, then know for sure that we did enjoy your submission, and we just can't get to everything.
Right.
So,
and if you're an official selection, we watched it and we liked it. If you're not an official selection, well, it's just a little lower on the tier is all.
I'll amend that a little bit. If you're an official selection, then we certainly watched it.
That's true.
And then we watch everything. Everything that doesn't start off like you're trolling us, which doesn't have to not happen often, and I don't think that's the intent of the filmmakers, but some things just aren't ready to be submitted. But if you're an official selection, yet not a winner, even if we don't, we are two people with our own individual tastes.
Yes.
We don't have to like a film for it to be recognized and elevated to a category that we deem an official selection, something that is worthy to be submitted and to be discussed, to be considered for the category. Biases, and that'll come into play with something later, biases are set aside so that we can enjoy entertainment. What we want is not something that we deem to be art, because this is all subjective. I just want to be entertained for the duration that you're showing me of your project. And if that is achieved, if I can tell that you've tried, that this has been a solid attempt at
there's a lot of check marks that we go through, but they don't all have to be checked off just to be talked about.
Right.
Was there really good sound in this one, but was something else off? Well, that's a great thing. That shows that someone cared about an aspect of their project.
And we're just two people creating a podcast, really, and running a online film festival. And of course, our promise to you is that we're going to watch your submissions. We are going to have a podcast. These are our promises. Yeah. And I think everybody submitting should know we don't screen. We do share if we can. If you already have it public and we have a link, like it's on YouTube or Vimeo or your website, we absolutely try to share the links. And I tell everyone, top of the podcast, go to the winners page. If you're listening to this, that means the winners page is public for the month.
Yep.
Go there and look at your fellow filmmakers' movie posters and social media links and links to their projects. And this is your opportunity to reach out to something you may find interesting. Reach out to another filmmaker. Find out if somebody's in your area and collaborate. This is how we network here with IndieEye. And it's worked so far with a handful of people over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But these are our promises to you. We're going to watch them. We're going to have a podcast. And
we make no other guarantees.
No, and I don't guarantee a good podcast, okay? So
look, we tried just like everybody else does.
Right. Well, okay. So, Dre, let's have a terrible transition into what are you watching?
Okay. Okay, well, I'm watching a variety of things right now.
It probably has to deal with death and murder.
A little bit. Yes, I've actually taken a little bit of a break from Homicide Hunter. I'm only 2 episodes into the special on, it's not a special, it's a series on Hulu called Candy. It is about a true crime. It's about a murder that actually happened in the 80s, and Jessica Biel is in it, and she is amazing, and the cast is great, and it's a great show. So I'm watching that. I'm also watching on DVD, mind you, is Anne of Green Gables TV miniseries from the 80s. And I'm really loving it.
DVD, what's that?
I know. So it's this little thin disc.
Timey physical media.
Yeah, it is. Physical media. Mm-hmm.
You put it in a
pop
box.
it into a thing. Yeah. It's an Xbox. Yeah.
That's right. You're using an Xbox downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm watching a variety of things. But we also started a show that we've been wanting to watch for a while.
We did start Yellowstone finally. And I swear we'll get to the second episode. Someday when we're not
people are
exhausted.
Like, tell me what you think. And I'm like, well, I loved the first episode because that's as far as we got.
Yeah, we have. If we're going to watch something together, it's got to start like no later than 8:00 or else we're just ruined. And it's been hard to get to that. But I did watch over the last couple of weeks on my own. I watched Outer Range, which is on Amazon Prime, starring Josh Brolin, and he's obviously fantastic in it. Imogen Poots is fantastic in it, and this whole there's all sorts of great acting going on in this show. And this first season, and I will give no spoilers, but it's a really fun sci-fi setup, a great premise. And I will say that I was absolutely hooked. And then somewhere in the last 2 episodes, I was WTFing all over the place and not particularly in a good way. I will say that I was very unsatisfied with the season finale, assuming they're coming back.
Did they leave it open-ended?
Oh yeah, it's definitely has room to continue the story.
Okay.
But there was decisions made, particularly in the last episode. I found myself in the last episode going, oh, I hope this is over soon so I can get on and do something else.
Oh, how sad.
And I was just like, it has such a great pacing and asks such fun questions that in the end, I felt like the final episode, they got to it and went, well, we probably want to do a second season, so how can we stall on and just get to the second season? How can we just be weird? So I don't know where that's going to go, but I did enjoy the beginning, and it's certainly original and fresh and kept me interested. It takes place in Wyoming, Dre.
Wyoming, you say?
Where we are currently scouting for potential future location for our family.
And speaking of...
Well, I wanted to also say, to have fun, while I've been editing, I've been rewatching the Jamie Foxx show, which, I've seen several times. I've seen the syndication over and over. But that is it was just one of my little guilty pleasures of television. And
it shouldn't be, because it's a good show.
Oh, it's
hilarious.
I think Jamie Foxx might be the most talented individual to ever live, and I hate him for it. He's amazing. And
he's so good in everything he's done.
It's dumb sitcom stuff, but it's so good, and he makes everything so good, and the cast is so great. So I've been watching that. It keeps me happy. I've been disgruntled editing lately just because I'm so overwhelmed that I'm on day 64 of waiting for my Mac Studio to arrive. Apple. So I'm dealing with a lot of beach balling in Final Cut. And I'm just waiting to move on. So,
but some other things that we've watched
Yeah.
this month is Top Gun.
Oh my gosh.
We watched Top Gun with our 14-year-old.
And we're talking Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick.
And Maverick, yep.
Which we saw at a 10:20 p.m. showing.
Which was ridiculous.
God
for people
help
in their
us.
40s.
I mean,
Somebody who's 29 can clearly stay up.
What a phenomenal film. And you're going to hear everybody gushing about Top Gun Maverick.
It deserves gushing.
And it's just, this is how you pay homage to a classic film.
Without copying it.
Yep. You sprinkle in the nostalgia. Tell a great story.
Amount.
It's technically amazing. The cast is amazing. They find a way to make everybody happy in this film. I mean, you bring in new blood. There's new pilots. You end up liking all of them.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous filmmaking. And by making Maverick the sole focus of this film, I think there are some franchises that could really learn from that. We loved Top Gun. We loved Maverick as a character. What they did not do was sideline Maverick and say, here, like all these new pilots instead, and then die, Maverick. and all the nostalgia go away. Here's what you're going to like. No, they made Maverick, they made Pete Mitchell the main focus, and you just love everything that's going on around it. And I mean, Miles Teller.
Oh my gosh.
Phenomenal.
I know.
And it's
so good.
And I want to say one more shameless plug before we get into talking about our films for this month. A new episode of Take 22 is up, and I got to have a conversation with co-star actor J.C. Shopper, who plays Cassie Gordon. And Cassie Gordon is...
In what movie?
Hold on. Cassie Gordon is analogous to myself, in the film that I wrote and directed, Madison Baker Was Here. So the new episode of Take 22 features a conversation between me and JC, just kind of talking about our experience making the film. So if you're interested in a director and an actor kind of trauma bonding over what they put themselves through during the summer of 2019, go check out the latest episode of Take 22, a media production podcast, and there'll be a link to that in the description.
Cool.
All right. So I'm just going to start off with my favorites of the month here.
This was so good.
And I'll read the synopsis to a comedy short we received called You've Matched. Mr. Wayne 83 and Wavy Girl 39 met online and fell in love sight unseen. What could possibly go wrong when they meet in real life?
So clever.
This is written and directed by Justin Pogue, and You've Matched is absolutely a masterclass in short filmmaking, in comedy. And what it does so well is it tells this smart, simple story, which is just a simple, short love story. But the important thing is that they do everything short. It's a short film, and it's very well thought out. It has a delightful cast, smart camera work, good editing. There are fun twists, and again, it's short. And what they do here is they set up the entire premise of the film with a commercial that they open with, and that kind of establishes the app that is prominent in this short film.
It's so creative of a story. I mean, this is a story that could be told in other ways, but they really honed in on this way of people meeting, and the twists are just... they're all over the place, and they're really super fun. And I was just the whole time going, how cool. Like,
yeah, I actually did not see it
Me neither.
it coming, and I felt silly afterwards, but it's done so well that you're just along for the ride.
Yes.
And as things happen and they unfold, it's just a fun watch. And Justin Pogue did a great job with this cast. The cast was absolutely wonderful.
Acting was so good. I did not feel like they were acting. I felt like they were so natural when they were typing and in real, in rooms with other people. And, I definitely felt like it was so natural, and their chemistry together was super cool.
And I would love to spoil everything about this story,
I'm
going to leave that to for Justin to show audiences going forward. I think he's going to have a good run with You've Matched. And I loved the fun in the credits. I love when filmmakers take the opportunity to turn the credits into something fun to watch as well. And
Keeps you there.
It's hard. Once you get to the credits, you feel like you've crossed the finish line when you're in the editing and everything. You just want it to be done. But when you have a little extra to throw in there that enhances the experience, it's wonderful. And it works more so with short films than it does features.
And comedies, too.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, just a wonderful job to everybody involved in making You've Matched, which was written and directed by Justin Pogue. You guys won our Best Comedy Short of May of 2022.
Yay!
Another super fun submission we received is called Stegosaurus, and this was written and directed by Barry Wilkinson. In addition to Barry, I believe who is his daughter, Olivia Wilkinson, plays Amber, and she's fantastic.
She is so good.
And with this short film, people, and this is a fanfic kind of a thing. It's got a Jurassic Park vibe to it, but never really throws that in your face. Yeah, it's never.
There are hints there, and they do show specific things.
Yeah, it's basically, it's a mother and a daughter going on a trip to Jurassic Park. It's about the girl enjoying this experience, but the mom is always on her phone. And I love that little, that part of it. It takes something very important and contemporary.
And that we all can understand.
And then tricks you by watching the movie with a stegosaurus in it to say, put your phone down, pay attention to your kids. Yeah. And I love that because it really, it hits home. I think a lot of parents can relate to that right now. But this little girl is at the end watching, spoiler alert, there's a dinosaur in a Jurassic Park themed fan fiction film. She's watching this marvel of science, before her, and the mom's like on her phone. And I just, that's an amazing little parallel or analogy to our society that probably would happen at a Jurassic Park if it was real, where someone's on their phone and not marveling at the dinosaur that's right across the way. But the little girl was just amazing. The sound design for Stegosaurus was also really good.
From the beginning, you really felt in it. You felt what the little girl felt. You were really encapsulated by what she was experiencing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a elegant simplicity in Stegosaurus because the cinematography is beautiful. The editing it's understated.
Yeah.
It's not like, I could see where somebody could really go over the top with the editing on this, and it's just done really, really well. The special effects are superb in it. Looks fantastic. And there's a Stegosaurus in it. How do
we mention dinosaurs?
If you have a Stegosaurus in your submission, you're probably going to get big praise from me. But I also want to state that the writing was simple and all it needed to be.
Yep.
There was plenty of opportunity if Barry wanted to go heavy-handed on, Mom, put your phone down.
Yep.
Here we are at this wonderful place, and you're on your phone. And he never gives into that. It's always, the subtext lives in this film, and it works really well.
And it lives in the acting.
Yes.
In the daughter's facial expressions. I mean, not many kids know how to portray emotion on their face. I mean, when they're told to look a certain way or feel a certain way, I mean, she's got something special, that kid, and she's adorable.
Great everything. So Barry Wilkinson and team, congratulations on Stegosaurus, because you have won our best fan fiction for May of 2022.
Yay!
Next, we have a music video that was submitted to us called 'Cause You're My Girl. And this was directed and stars Robert P. Barnett and Benjamin Steeper, also a director. And this is a fun and funny WWE love story parody with a happy twist. And also in this video, it stars Australia Kincannon, who is an actor, writer, director in her own right, but she's also a volunteer firefighter, and she's up in all sorts of charities.
She's a busy gal.
And so, yeah, she's pretty phenomenal in this, playing her character. And in this music video, you've got a guy singing about the girl he loves, but in the video, they're fighting it out in like a WWE
style.
Sort of, they're wrestling, they're loving, and, it all is just super fun to watch. I was trying to understand what I was watching while on the first watch, so it keeps you going. But what I couldn't believe was the fantastic production design they have. There's such great energy in it. It looks really good. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
And I have to believe, based on multiple viewings here, that they had a ton of fun.
Yeah, everybody looked like they were really enjoying themselves.
This. Yeah. So, I mean, wow, you guys really knocked yourselves out making this music video, which is why 'Cause You're My Girl is our best music video for May of 2022.
Yay!
And we've linked that video at the winners page over at IndieEyeFilmAwards.com. So please make a note, go over there, check out that video, and have some fun with it.
It's IndieEyeFilmAwards.com.
Did I not say that?
Nope.
What did I say?
You just said the website.
IndieEyeFilmAwards.com.
I don't think you ever said it, though. I think you just said...
I thought I did.
Oh, okay. I thought you just said go over to the website.
Comment below whether Matt promoted his website or did not. Let's see if Dre's paying attention or if Matt is just crazy.
I really did think you just said
Maybe I
go
did.
to the winners page.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I assume you're right, just as a default stance.
Smart.
Moving on to the animation side of things, received some really great submissions. Animations are really just coming strong, but we received a project called The Cloaked Realm, directed by Marissa Cohen and Peter Isaac Alexander. And listen to this synopsis. Set in 19th century London, Baden, and New York City, The Cloaked Realm is an adaptation and reimagining of two of history's greatest, but now forgotten, science fiction stories from over 100 years ago. Moxon's Master and The Ablest Man in the World. This is a feature-length animation that is super high quality, great sound design, an excellent score. It was fantastic to watch. It really brought me back to MTV's Liquid Television, like in the Aeon Flux days I enjoyed so much as a teenager. And while this is a higher quality animation than that, but that's kind of where it felt like it would have fit really well. And I was super impressed by what Marissa Cohen and Peter Isaac Alexander have put together with this. So The Cloaked Realm is our best animation for May of 2022.
Yay!
And we've linked their website, their Instagram stuff at the winners page, and I highly recommend you go check this out and find a way to watch The Cloaked Realm if you're into really good animation. Little documentary talk here. We received a feature-length documentary called Lovecraft, Going to the Call of Cthulhu. This is directed by Alexei Kodalevsky, and in his words, this is a film in which I talk about the life of the author, his style, his grandiose influence on culture, but the way I tell it is unique. I showcase the actual locations and settings of Lovecraft's stories through the cinematic part of my film. I show his hometown, houses where terrible events took place, artifacts from books, and much more. What is true and what is fiction will have to be chosen by the viewer. Now, Alexi had a really interesting approach to this, and obviously, if you probably know, but this is all about H.P. Lovecraft and his work, and Alexi is showing his adoration and respect for the works of H.P. Lovecraft. And I love everything he did here. I had one little gripe, but before I get to that, this is super well edited, and there was so much work gathering the media materials, including the stuff he shot on his own, that's discussed, and it's just a fantastic delivery with a ton of enthusiasm. If you're into H.P. Lovecraft, you're going to love this documentary. And the only little note that I have for Alexi here is that his A-roll shot, well, his talking head portion where he's narrating, but he set himself up in this room that's full of like wooden walls and floor, and it's a big room, and the reverb is super distracting. It made it really hard for me to listen. Like we didn't even try to take the reverb out of the audio at all, and maybe he likes that, maybe he's going for that, but I felt like it was a beautiful setting to have that A-roll going, but I think the compromise you make in introducing all that reverb from the room brought your project down a bit. It unintentionally negatively impacted the technical aspect of your film. And when you're doing a documentary in which narration is such an important part of that documentary, it better be clean audio. So, I don't know. To most people, that probably wouldn't matter, but I'm a bit of an audiophile and I have to edit dialogue all of the time. So I really appreciate when sound blankets are used or just environments in which that reverb is not prominent. And if it is prominent, then a little bit of post work to pull that reverb down. So that's my little gripe. But that doesn't stop. Alexei Kodolevsky's Lovecraft, Going to the Call of Cthulhu is our best documentary feature for May of 2022.
Yay!
Congratulations, Alexi, and thanks for submitting. Then I personally really had a tough decision to make in the documentary short category. Man, we had some strong submissions there, and there was one that it's really aimed at the right person, because it was about it was a sports story.
Sports doc.
But in another appeal to something else I'm very much interested in, which is filmmaking, we received The Making of Safe House 1618, which was directed by Garrett Brady, or captured and edited by Garrett Brady. And it's a behind-the-scenes look at the making, obviously, according to the title, You would get that, of Safe House 1618, which was directed by Calvin Shepard, a big winner for us here at IndieEye. But Garrett, along with being kind of a production assistant during the filming, so he's busy, he has a job.
Yeah.
But he also was able to pick up the camera and capture a lot of BTS and interaction with the cast. And so it reminds me of like back in my wedding days, kind of the raw video segment that I would throw onto people's, Blu-ray discs when we were doing Blu-ray discs. I find it really super interesting because it's behind the scenes of the making of film, which I'm always on board for. But what I also felt was missing was I feel like Garrett had an opportunity here to get some sit-down A-roll after production with Calvin, with some of the actors and things going on, just to kind of lead us through this stuff. Now,
it needed some narration. Yeah,
it works with what it is because it's really just raw video cut together in a fun way.
Yeah,
and there are great choices being made on what Garrett's showing us. But I think it just really could have gone next level if we could hear a little bit more from Calvin and his afterthoughts of certain scenes, show us, here's this stuff going on here, and let's have Calvin or an actor or somebody else involved just, kind of fill us in a little bit more. And
because you see what's going on and you can hear what's going on, but sometimes you're just plopped into this particular part of what they're doing and you don't have any context. Right. So that is where the interview / narration comes
Well, I think
in.
The important part here is that Garrett Brady left us wanting more. So
it was fun.
Good job on Garrett's behalf. And, again, great job to Calvin Shepard for having someone on board doing this, and for the team with Safe House 1618. We have definitely honored the making of Safe House 1618 by Garrett Brady by giving it Best Documentary Short of May of 2022.
Yay!
Now, speaking of short films.
Yes, under 20 minutes.
Something
I can watch while eating
for under
a snack.
10. Yeah. We received a super interesting watch called Leonardi's Jewel of Wonders, directed by Maxwell C. Blackriver. And the premise here is it's 1930, and two runaway carnies steal a fortune teller's jewel only to find out it's cursed. This was done on a $300 budget.
Blows my mind.
And shot in the woods of northern New Jersey. Dre, what were your thoughts on this film?
I loved it. I didn't know the synopsis when I watched it, so I had no idea. And I love movies or projects that show don't tell. They reveal who they are over time. They reveal what they've done over time. They don't just tell you what they've done. I loved the dialogue as well. It felt 1930s. The way that they spoke, I could tell it was a period piece, from the opening shots with the actors, but I really, really enjoyed the performances between the two lead actors, and I thought that the story was told really well, and it took me for a ride. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. It was fun. These are authentic performances by Raven Aday and Adam S. Gellis. A little kind of a note that I have is for me personally.
And I'm going to disagree with you on this.
Okay, that's fine. But for me personally, I think I would have preferred a lot of the back and forth between the leads in the storytelling to be not boring, but locked off static shots that were controlled, because there's a lot of handheld in it. Well, it's like pretty much all handheld. The handheldness of it. Is that the technical term?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very technical.
There's a lot of losing focus during things, and that just...
I know.
It's a bit of an amateur look, and I just think, you by making the safe choice of setting up a tripod, get a cool angle, put things in frame, and manual focus that bad boy into the right spot, and then you don't have to worry about falling in and out of focus, because it's distracting. But go ahead.
But I felt like it added to the mystery. You're never really sure what's happening behind them because it's dark. You don't really know what's happening with them because the shots are so tight, on their faces or what they're doing, and the in and out of focus and the higher angle of things, you just get a different perspective. Like it's just a little on the creep side, you're just a little on that suspense edge. So I personally liked it, but I am also not a professional filmmaker by any means.
No, well, I mean, am I? So
you get paid for it. I would call that professional.
So that's great, and I'm sure this is exactly what Maxwell wants it to be, and that's totally fine. Just if I was going to make a nitpick, that would be mine, but it works well for you, and that's fantastic. So either way, Leonardi's Jewel of Wonders, directed by Maxwell C. Blackriver, is our best narrative short of May of 2022.
Yay!
And let me tell you, the narrative shorts this month were so good.
They were.
Really, really tough choices. And I'll be able to talk about a few more of them in honorable mentions. But kudos to our filmmakers, all of our filmmakers this month, because even when there were things that, weren't particularly our flavor,
right,
they were done so well. Now, we're going to talk about narrative features, and we received some narrative features that we stress this all the time. If you have made something and it's ready to submit to a film festival, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's your win.
Yeah.
Our laurels are not validation for your hard work.
Correct.
Your project being finished is the proper validation of your hard work. And that goes for any of these film festivals. We're just opinions. We're just laurels. We are not the ones who put out the blood, sweat, and tears to make your art. We're strangers judging your art with opinions.
Yeah.
So even though you may not win, even though we may have things we criticize about your projects, you having done it elevates you so far above
people who just talk about it.
There's plenty of people that just talk about it and
I
don't
gotta
do
do
it.
this. Oh, I want to do this.
Or they shoot it. They get everyone involved and they shoot it and they don't finish the edit and things like that. So, I'm always impressed when people have a full submission to send to us.
Yeah.
Now, there was a couple feature films I'm not going to get into, but the names, I'm not going to mention the names or anything. You go through all the work to make something, and that's fantastic. And you've learned something from that experience. You've gotten better. No matter what you do, you've gotten better. By the time it's all done and rendered and ready for other people to see, you are already an exponentially better filmmaker than you were when you made what you're about to show people. That doesn't help the viewer, but just know that as a filmmaker. And something I bump against every month here with IndieEye is that there are things that are completed and people spend a lot of money submitting to film festivals, but the audio is a problem.
Yeah.
If you're putting in, and I'm like in short films, like I get it. The audio doesn't have to be perfect in a short film. Please make it as perfect as you can for me. But in a feature film, when you've decided I am going to take on a feature film.
You're talking an hour and a half minimum of someone else's time.
At the minimum, you're talking about the runtime for the viewer. But everything that goes into writing and pre-production and production and post-production and the actor's time and the director's time, let's get that microphone stuff situated. I see, a question people ask me all the time is, I'm going to make this thing. What camera should I get? What editing software should I use?
Use your phone.
None of that's important.
Yep.
Please, if you're going to put money into something in your film, make it feeding the cast and making sure they're taken care of. And the sound. Have a sound person. If you don't know about sound, you got to find a person who knows about sound. Or, damn it, YouTube yourself for a month and find out how to capture good sound. Because having a microphone in the right place, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars in wireless setups and expensive shotgun mics and recorders. But I'll tell you what, it's never been easier to get a 32-bit floating... What is it? 32-bit float recorder right now. The Zoom F3. Go get it. It's $300, $400. Go get that. Get a decent shotgun mic and make sure that mic is pointed where it needs to go. Get somebody who can get that microphone in close to your scenes. Because what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that if you're putting all this effort into making your film and then you're spending money submitting it into competitions, if your audio is bad, you're going to fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
And look, I don't care what your story is. Story is king. Yes, it is king. But if your film is hard to listen to and it's going up against other more technically sound films, there's a problem there. There's no reason for your audio to be bad. There can be challenges with camera. That's forgivable. There could be challenges with acting. also forgivable. And if there's bad acting, that's on you, directors. Don't blame your actors, because casting is directing and directing is directing. So if there's bad actors, it's on you. I know, because I've made that mistake in the past. All I'm trying to say here is go make anything you want to make. Make stuff. But before you spend a fortune on submitting to film festivals, I'd rather not get a dime of anybody's money and have them spend that money on getting good audio for their storytelling. So I don't know. We received feature films where I was like, well, this is really great. The audio is terrible.
Yeah.
So with that aside, we received a feature film this month called February's Dog, directed by Paul Jared Chinook and Candace Schmidt-Gonzalez. And this is, and I'll read the synopsis, working class colleagues stricken by sudden unemployment grapple with anxiety, depression, and isolation as they cope with the reality that the world they knew has changed. When all hope is fading, what will be their salvation? Now, this stars Paul Jared Chinook as Dale. He does a fantastic job. There's a fantastic team of producers here with a solid cast. And this is a really great story about Dale, the character's downward spiral and his personal and professional challenges. And just, it's a great look into the psyche of this man and how these, relatable real world things are dragging him down. And it's, the drama stands out and the writing stands out. And, I've got some technical issues here and there, but a key is that they did care about sound and they did their best to get good sound. And a lot of the cinematography is really good as well.
Very thoughtful.
I think some of the editing could be snappier. I think some shots linger. Yeah. We could tighten this a little bit. But it is a psychological drama, and we are going along this ride and watching these things happen to Dale. So it lends to the how tedious life is for Dale also. So I thought Paul Jared Chinook, Candace Schmidt-Gonzalez did a fantastic job. Paul has to pull multiple duties here.
Yeah,
you know how it is when you're the director, the producer, you're doing location scouting, production design, and then, oh, by the way, I need you to star in your own film.
Literally the whole thing rests on you.
Yeah. They did a fantastic job, and kudos to the team at February's Dog, because February's Dog is our best narrative feature of May of 2022.
Yay!
And I'll try to avoid rants going forward here. I want to go back to The Cloaked Realm, our best animation winner, which was fantastic. And I mentioned it had a really great score. And to have such a great score for a feature-length animation where so much depends on the mood and the tone, just really blew us away. So The Cloaked Realm earns Best Original Music, Song, and Score for May of 2022.
Yay!
And remaining in the area of what you hear, the sound design for Stegosaurus was really, it was fantastic. It was simple, but it was excellent. It was perfect.
It was almost a character.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they did lean on it to tell quite a bit of the story.
And to start out, it was
yes,
very apparent it was going to be good.
But again, in talking about issues with capturing dialogue, it was done very well. The post-production on the dialogue done very well. And, just setting up the microphone and capturing the stuff, you're not finished. There's post-production to be done with audio. And that stands out in Stegosaurus. So Stegosaurus wins our best sound design for May of 2022.
Yay!
Now, we've talked about Leonardi's Jewel of Wonders, the short film that won our best narrative short, directed by Maxwell C. Blackriver. Well, it's carried by a couple of fantastic actors really giving some fun performances in Raven a Day as Owen and Adam S. Gellis as Covetti. And these two really worked together super well. I loved the chemistry and, the dialogue that they had. So together, they've won acting awards with us. And Raven Aday is our best actor for May of 2022.
Yay!
And Adam S. Gellis is our best supporting actor for May.
Yay!
Great job. Great team.
Yeah.
And great job.
I was pulled in immediately to their characters, and I thought they did a great job.
Credit to Maxwell C. Black River because casting is directing. So wonderful choices there. And our final category then is Best Director. Lots of strong submissions this month.
Yeah.
I could have been completely satisfied with going with several different people under Best Director. And what we finally came to the conclusion of was that You've Matched was done so well and does all of the little things so well. The storytelling, number one. The sound, number two. Have you heard me talk about sound yet?
No, you should talk to us about that.
The shots are smart, and I'm talking about revealing cinematography,
Yes.
cinematography in which you have two people in two different places, but they're together on screen. I mean, you'd have to watch the film, obviously, but it's done very well. So Justin Pogue has shown himself to be a fantastic director. He casted the right people, told a great story.
Yeah, in a fun, creative way.
I mean, this is a wonderful short film to block at any festival, and people would love it. So congratulations, Justin Pogue. You are our best director for May of 2022.
Yay!
We'll conclude by talking about some honorable mentions that really deserve to be discussed. One was submitted by Connor McClellan, the director of The Letter, a short film we received, with a synopsis that goes, upon receiving a letter that would reveal her future, a normally decisive young dreamer's decision whether or not to open it is colored by the loss of her mother, the choices that lead to it, and the reality of a world built to benefit the fortunate. Now, I love what Connor did here, and Kira Smith as Robin is a standout. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. There's great sound, super solid cinematography. I can't find something to nitpick here with The Letter, but just the way things shook out, it was not our winner, but it's fantastic. And Connor, you did an amazing job. I'm looking forward to anything you do here in the future. And what stands out to me here is just the lighting and the cinematography was always very pleasant. And I'm jealous because I just wish, the lighting never comes naturally to me in cinematography. And anytime I see people, it just feels like whoever was responsible for shooting The Letter is really good with lighting. And I loved that. And again, I loved Kira Smith as Robin. So Connor and your team, congratulations on being an honorable mention for The Letter. Another great short we received, and I emphasize short, not that we don't take features, but I love the shorts, is a Greek black and white film called The Pause of Time, which was directed by Achilles Soutsis. I think I'm saying that right.
Looks good.
Anna is devastated for failing to succeed as a dancer in Paris. John never wrote again after they broke up. They meet again after years, but time has a message for both. And thank goodness this has subtitles. But this is gorgeous. It's gorgeous in its simplicity. The actors are fantastic. And again, it's just one of those things where this is a fantastic submission that maybe in another month just dominates competition. But given everything we had this month, it was just a tough decision. And Achilles really has something special here with The Pause of Time. And I'm so glad he submitted it because it was something I really enjoyed watching. And certainly worthy of an honorable mention, and if not more, anywhere else on any other month. Another short film that we received is called Uncut, directed by Mark Hensley. Now here's what's important about Uncut. this has excellent production value. You can tell this is a huge effort, and it's done well by everybody involved. The cast delivers. But the standout to me here is the cinematographer. And I do not know how to pronounce her name, but I'm going to try Srushti Kelsey. And I actually messaged her on Instagram to try to get a correct pronunciation. I haven't heard back yet. But I am going to link to her Instagram. We'll have that on the winners page under honorable mentions, and her website, because her work is fantastic. And I think her work is what makes Uncut watchable for the time period that it is. I think it's only about 19 minutes long or so.
Okay.
So completely watchable as a short film. Like, it could be shorter. Okay. Everything could be. But her work is fantastic, because it's very dark. It takes place at night. And there's so many night shots and manipulation of light, like I'm talking about, just a very well handled cinematography, and it was absolutely fun to watch based on that. So Mark Hensley really chose a fantastic cinematographer and a great cast to deliver his screenplay. And those are the important things. The rest of what I'm going to say is completely subjective, and just my opinion, but I'm giving the feedback because people are submitting to us, and that's what we're about. But I feel that Uncut, and this is a political thriller film, and it's basically painting kind of a futuristic political situation where fascism is coming to America draped in patriotism.
Huh.
So here's just my take. It's very ham-handed. It's overwrought. It's an uninformed political bias. It makes the story of it eye-rolling. It makes the things the characters say and do eye-rolling. And I think it just leans too heavy to one side of the aisle. And ultimately, I think it's a bad take on things I don't believe Mark Hensley understands, and this is my subjective opinion. In addition, over on Film Freeway, there's no overview. There's no information he's given on the film. There's no technical crew credits. Like, I had to go look up the cinematographer. What happened? You can go to IMDb, but on the poster, the cinematographer's listed, but on the Film Freeway credits, there's none of the technical people involved, and I really wanted to give her some credit that was due. So there's the tech crews left out. There's no social links, so I can't, I want to send people to go find this film and watch it on your own. If you're of a particular political fervor where you think there's just one side of the aisle is wrong and the other is right, no matter what, no matter which side you're on, doesn't matter. This may really appeal to you. And it's, from a technical standpoint of filmmaking, Mark's done a fantastic job. I mean, that's the main takeaway, and that's what I would, say to Mark. But just, I find filmmakers, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, if you're not playing the middle somewhat, you're alienating a significant portion of your potential audience
who could love your work.
Right. And I think there's I've spent most of my entire life highly interested in up until a certain point, interested in history, geopolitics.
And you understand it.
I very much do, in a way that is...
Well, it's annoying to people.
We teach things very wrong in today's society.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do their own homework. So if you're just taking what one side of the aisle is giving you and believing it wholeheartedly, I think you're making a mistake. And that goes for both sides.
Absolutely.
Because we're all pawns in this game. So, But just, from a content standpoint,
it just
didn't work for me. And Mark has made exactly what he wants to, and I am 1,000% behind that. Obviously, I'm one person's subjective opinion.
Yeah.
I may have a clear political lean of my own that is different than Mark's. That does not take away from the effort that Mark and his team have put into making a really solid offering for a viewer. My personal opinion, based on the story, based on the writing, it didn't work for me. But
that's okay.
It's tremendous work, though, from a technical standpoint. So just a great cinematographer.
And also sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought you were done. And just another reminder to put your social links. Give us information about your film. Tell us what it is. Tell us about you. Tell us about your cast and the people that helped make this. So we're not out there scrambling for information. So
a situation I find myself in when I'm trying to do the Instagram posts and tagging people who are involved in films is that I go out of my way to find the actors and people involved so that they can see that they've been credited and things like that. And then I'll still get, hey, can you credit so-and-so? Because they were involved. I'm like, well, I have none of this information. So
you're lucky I got these things tagged.
Yeah, I would say of us indie directors, if you're submitting to film festivals, to get permission, of course, from the people, and then try to share their social media as well. Or at least just let us as film festivals know where we can find these people on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But for the most part, we interact mostly on Instagram. We don't do Facebook or anything else like that.
Not for IndieEye,
Right. So, if you want me to include people in the posts, you've got to give me their stuff. Help me help you.
We don't know them.
Yeah.
We didn't work with them. We didn't make a movie with them.
And sometimes I just don't tag people who are involved because I don't have the permission. If they haven't followed over at IndieEye, then I don't know if they're fully engaged or on board or even want to have their personal Instagram, out there for this. So, just, hey, help us out. Give us all the information. I wish Mark would have had links in the Film Freeway stuff for me to use for the website, but he didn't. So, but Uncut by Mark Hensley, a great honorable mention. I'm glad he submitted it, and the people involved should be very, very proud of how this movie looks and sounds. That's for sure. And the last film I'm going to talk about is called The Game. Now, this was a documentary short that was submitted, and it was right up there for me with The Making of Safe House 1618, which was our winner this month.
Wow, was it a sports doc?
Yes. And I'm trying not to be so biased every month on sports docs, but hey, they come to me. People have heard Matt likes the sports doc. But The Game was directed by Michael Hugh Bowman, and it tells the story of the University of Arkansas had a policy against playing in-state competition. In 2005, the National Women's Invitational Tournament brought Arkansas State University and the University of Arkansas's women's basketball programs together in postseason play for a game many A-State fans thought would never happen in their lifetime. The game chronicles the excitement surrounding the matchup between the state's two biggest universities. So, and this was 2005. So we have the footage is it's standard definition broadcast type footage. And, it's got the interviews around that are kind of that feel, but it's a fun sports doc. It's put together really well with good audio, and it was super strong. So The Game by Michael Hugh Bowman definitely deserves an honorable mention. And thank you so much to everybody for submitting to IndieEye for the month of May. I know we didn't get to talk about everything, and we talked a little too much about some things, but I hope the filmmakers that did submit and those who haven't yet submitted remain inspired and continue creating things and getting better and sharing with us and sharing with other festivals and just building on your careers and
your skill sets.
Just a fun month. People gave us fun stuff to watch, and I'm so thankful that we have the opportunity to see their work and talk about their work and share about their work over at the winners page at IndieEyeFilmAwards.com.
I was just going to say a little housekeeping. IndieEyeFilmAwards.com, winners page over there. You can see past winner pages as well. You can also submit for a new month there if you have a new project, or you can share that link with a friend who may be finishing up their project if they want to submit. And then also give us a follow both at our YouTube channel where we also put the podcast, because we can interact with you there if you leave comments on this video if you're watching on YouTube, and also on Instagram where we share about our winners and other things going on with IndieEye. That's IndieEye Film Awards on Instagram.
Thank you, Dre. Thank you to everybody who submitted. We're going to get out of here and enjoy Memorial Day. Go create something, huh?
Bye.
If you'd like your project discussed on the podcast, go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com and submit to our open monthly competition. Find us on Instagram and YouTube, IndieEye Film Awards. Thanks for listening to this episode of IndieEye.